I be a mean girl on a set that ain't my set? So there's no way for me to be a mean girl.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it is your girl, Christiana Faith. Today we are going to be talking about Amanda Seales and her Club Shay Shay interview. Literally the interview that just keeps on giving in a horrible way for Amanda. Okay, so when I first watched the interview in full, yes, the whole 3 hours, I had a whole different vision for this video, because after watching the interview, I was like, you know what? Maybe Amanda isn't the villain, right? Child, her antics on social media after the interview, I'm just like, girl, you are not helping yourself at all. Okay, so there were certain parts of the interview where it was very hard to watch. It was kind of cringe. Like, I was getting low-key secondhand embarrassment for Shay Shay, because there were some moments in the interview where it was like very confrontational and combative between Shay Shay and Amanda. For instance, when Amanda was talking about one of her old teachers that was racist back in the day, because Amanda was correcting her about a particular situation, right?
That's not for me to surmise. I'm just saying that my experience was this lady giving wrong information.
Yeah.
And I'm allowed to correct her. Now, this is the same lady who tried to accuse me of stealing.
Now, Shay Shay, he said, hold up there, girl. Now, what if it was really because the teacher felt like a child should not be correcting a student? Y'all, it was so hard to watch. Just look.
Do you think she would have felt equally as offended if a white kid, because I'm assuming this teacher was white, right? Mm-hmm. If a white child would have corrected her, I think most teachers would feel some type of way.
For me personally, I was like, Shay Shay, if this woman feels like what she experienced was racism, I'm like, that's not for you to tell her, oh, it's not racism, or maybe your experience is wrong, because we do have our own experiences. So I totally understood where Amanda was coming from, saying like, how you want to tell me how I felt in that moment or what I experienced. And low-key, I was like, Shay Shay, it's giving. Were you in the classroom with her? Because you low-key are defending her a little bit too hard. I don't know. I just feel like Shay Shay was not ready for Amanda to be Amanda. I really want to know why he chose to have her on his podcast. Was it because he knew that she was going viral? Because once again, these Black pages, the bloggers and stuff like that, they are talking about her again. So I'm just like, was it because of like this that you chose her, or was this something already planned in advance? Like, I want to know what made you think having Amanda Seales on your podcast was like it. Because I feel like if he did his research on who Amanda really was, looked into her some more, he would know not to argue down with this woman about racism. Like, a quick look on her Instagram page, you would know, okay, this is not the person that you want to argue down with, because they clearly have some expertise in this field, and or they're just very passionate in general. So if you're gonna push back on them, just be ready to tussle. Moving on, there was another part of the interview where Amanda was discussing her time on Disney when she was working in some show, child. And she said that the kids there were racist.
It was called an N-word right there while I was there. And
And once again, Shay Shay was like, Amanda, what if the kids were just being kids?
Yes. So that's what I'm being told by the other children. Does that suffice as racist to you, or would you want to call it something else? Is that just kids being mean?
Yeah, the kids. So let me ask you a question. As a child, you never said anything?
And I'm like, Shay Shay, be freaking for real. Be for real. Now, once again, I do completely understand both sides. I totally get Amanda saying, no, these kids are 100% racist. This is my experience, what I went through. She even gave the example of Ruby Bridges when she went to school and those kids were racist towards her and taunting her. And I can understand what Shay Shay was saying as far as kids are being kids. I think that kids do certain things because it's a learned behavior, and they can unlearn those things as they get older. Now, when it comes to racism, I don't know, very touchy subject, but I am saying that I do understand that kids can do things that's taught to them that they see at a very impressionable age, and then say certain things to kids as well. But once again, Amanda was not having it. And this was only the first portion of the interview, and I was just like, where is this going? Like, it was really given like tit for tat on like both sides. Like, it was kind of argumentative, and I was like, wait, if this is only like the first 30 minutes or so, I have 2.5 more hours of this. Like, I'm really concerned. Overall, I really want to know why Amanda decided to go on the Club Shay Shay podcast, because she's always talking about how she's vilified, she's defamed, and she's degraded. But during majority of this interview, it wasn't giving she wants to be seen in a better light. I feel like it kind of supported some of the rhetoric online of her being unlikable. For me personally, I was just like, if I know I'm such an unlikable person and people are literally doing smear campaigns according to Amanda, I'm like, I would have been a little bit more personable. Some stories I would have kept to myself. I wouldn't even have spoken on, because once again, if you know people don't like you, I don't think it's in your best interest to keep talking about situations of where people have done you wrong. And that was a recurring theme in the interview. She just kept talking about all of these situations, about all of these people doing her wrong. And it was kind of like redundant, because it's just like, okay, all these people did you wrong, but what did you do? Like, are you really one of those few people that always have something happen to them and you play no part in it whatsoever? And during the interview, she was noting that she has a lot of people in her real life that love her. She's likable, she's lovable, all of those things. But I'm just like, that doesn't mean anything if you are in Hollywood or you're just a public figure and the majority, the masses, kind of don't like you. I would think that you would want to go about things a different way to be more likable and to be accepted into these spaces that you want to be a part of. Because let's keep it real, as much as Amanda Seales talks about how the Black spaces are defaming her, degrading her, they're always writing these crazy stories about her, she wants to be a part of these spaces. For the Black Emmys party, for example, when Issa Rae's publicist, Vanessa, she was a part of the people that threw that party. She knew that she had beef with Vanessa, knowing that her and Vanessa were already going at it. She still wanted to be at this party. She wanted to be a part of these spaces. And when I say help her character, I don't mean to people that's in her personal life. Obviously, I'm talking about on the internet, because that's where she runs her mouth a lot and she gets a lot of pushback. Like, I see a lot of comments on Instagram, especially after the interview, where people are like, oh girl, this was not it. They were like, this is exhausting, this is too much, this was draining. But the next thing that I do want to talk about is when she mentioned Issa Rae and how Issa didn't want to get involved with the publicist, Vanessa, when they were going through their
Hey, I heard what happened this weekend. I just want you to know I have nothing to do with it. Would you be willing to talk to Vanessa?
And now I'm gonna give my 2 cents, and I wanna know what you guys think down below about this whole situation. But basically, Issa Rae's publicist, Vanessa, had an ongoing feud with Amanda, and then that's when that Black Emmys party had their whole blowout situation. Google it, right? Go look it up. Basically, she felt like Issa Rae was not intervening the way that she should, since that was her publicist and Amanda was working on her set. She felt like Issa Rae could have did a little bit more. There was another situation where she had a show with Issa Rae and it was supposed to be put on Issa Rae's website, even though Amanda did like a bunch of the back work.
I have my show, Get Your Life. And when it came out on her YouTube, unfortunately, the press picked it up as Issa Rae's new show.
Right.
And when the blogs and, you know, the publications or whatever picked it up, they were saying, oh, Issa Rae's new show. They weren't saying Issa Rae's and Amanda's show. So Amanda reached out to her and asked her, hey, can you tweet and fix this to let people know that it's our show? And she said Issa Rae never did that.
So I said, hey, would you mind, tweeting to correct this? And she just wouldn't.
And then also, before she started to spill all of this tea, she did say that she never spoke out against Issa Rae, or she was protecting Issa Rae.
I've never talked about this publicly because it has always been incredibly important to me to protect Issa. Because I know that Issa is doing something.
Once again, I feel like it just did not help her at all. I probably would have kept this to myself, because now you're just painting another narrative of Amanda Seales versus Issa Rae, when it's like always Amanda Seales versus this person, Amanda Seales versus that person. Like, now you just added Issa Rae to the list. Now I do wonder if Amanda and Issa Rae were friends. Did they have an actual friendship outside of them working on the Insecure set, or was it just strictly a work misplaced relationship. And I think during the interview, Amanda did say as well that she expected Issa to do that for her because she would have done that for Issa Rae. And I totally understand how you feel like somebody should have did something for you, having that expectation of that person, and then when they let you down, it's really such a bummer. Guys, I am really rooting for Amanda. I just hope this video doesn't come across as another video in her opinion that's like defaming or degrading her. I just want her to do better, maybe not get on social media all the time and make these comments and stuff like that, these videos, these stories, over explaining herself or clapping back at people, because it does not help her in the long run. It is not gonna help her in Hollywood, period. And after watching the Club Shay Shay interview, there was a lot of positive comments under his video. On her side, when it came to him and validating her experiences, and people were like, oh, this makes me look at Amanda in a new light. But things took a really dark turn when Amanda got on social media and she just started going off on Club Shay Shay. She started going off on Baller Alert. Baller, what did I just say? Baller alert. I be talking so fast, y'all. I'm really trying to learn to slow it down. So one thing that was talked about on social media was the whole autism diagnosis. During the interview, she did mention that she was recently diagnosed with autism.
I recently was diagnosed as someone who has autism spectrum disorder.
However, she got on live and I think she said that she wasn't diagnosed by a clinician, she was self-diagnosed.
No, I have not been clinically diagnosed by a doctor because I'm not paying $10,000 to do that. And most people will tell you that at this age, you don't need a clinical diagnosis in that sense. And I think that's the other thing. It's like, we are so conditioned here in this nation to really only consider something in one kind of way. And I will get back to that.
And I did see some comments in her comment section saying, oh, well, you weren't really diagnosed. Why would you say that? Like, they were really going back and forth with her about this whole autism diagnosis. And then she posted this on Instagram. Shannon, but have you been clinically diagnosed? Me. Yes, there is a clinical diagnosis for autism. He then hung his head and exhaled in frustration because I did not answer his question. That is called deflection. Why? Because I was not going to be pressured by this man who was interrogating me with absolutely zero love for me into proving something to him that by his line of questioning, he had already committed to undermining. I understand my response may be confusing to some, but I am clarifying it as I did in my live, and that is enough. So then Baller Alert posted on their blog page that she clarifies that she is not clinically diagnosed with autism, and this was Amanda's response to that.
So now the class act, Baller Alert, yet another black space, because there is such a dedicated effort to degrade me and defame me. It is beyond my scope of comprehension. Wants to suggest that because my autism diagnosis did not come from a clinician, that it is not valid. What's not valid is people speaking on things that they don't know about. And my autism diagnosis is not for you all to discuss. It's not up for your debate. And anyone who is speaking on or trying to invalidate diagnosis that comes outside of a clinician is only revealing that they actually don't know anything about autism diagnosis or autism. So I just want to once again thank you all for the love. And this is further proof of why we as Black people, particularly in Black media spaces, are our own worst enemy. And I guess, again, it's just another day of being on the fringe and being in the margins. And anyone who comes in my comments to try to defame me and degrade me, you'll simply be blocked. I, again, will no longer argue what I know with what you think.
Oh, child, I don't know, man. I just feel like as smart as Amanda is, I'm just like, girl, is nobody telling you this is not a good idea to get on the internet and clap back at people like this? And especially for what? Baller Alert is a blog page. This is their job. They post about people. Am I the only one that thought that was uncalled for? And it's so funny because even during the interview, they hugged in the interview. I think it was like more so towards the end or like halfway through.
She's gonna keep that guard up. She's gonna keep the guard up because I asked her for a hug earlier. She's like, nah, I don't hug. I asked her, I said, give me some dap. She ain't want to give me no dap. But once I told her, I said, Amanda, this is a safe space. You can tell your story.
Right.
She saw it back, she paused. She's like, can I have a hug? And then she was cool.
She asked him for a hug. And that is very important to note because she mentioned earlier in the interview that she does not give hugs to people that she doesn't like, that she doesn't trust, or that she doesn't mess with. So I'm like, you felt comfortable enough during the interview, halfway through or towards the end, to give him a hug, to now get on the internet and say all of these things about the interview, that it was like an interrogation, he had no love for you. Basically, you were uncomfortable and it's not what you thought it was gonna be. It wasn't a safe space. I don't know, you guys. I don't know what to say about Amanda Seales. I don't know what side I'm on. I'm kind of in the middle where it's like, I just want her to stop getting online and looking crazy and giving people something to talk about. Just keep talking about everything else that you talk about. Like on her Instagram page, y'all, she does so much. Like she posts a lot of pro-Palestine content. She speaks up for like Black causes and like everything else. I'm like, maybe you should kind of focus on that and leave the Hollywood blogger spaces alone, because it seems like it just doesn't mesh with you and your personality and what you believe in. It's like you want to be a part of the spaces, but you don't want to play the game to be a part of those spaces. Like you want to do your own thing, and that's kind of where the pushback is happening. Because even with this interview, I just do not think it was a good idea for her to go on Club Shay Shay. Knowing the things that you go on Club Shay Shay to talk about, like, I'm just being honest, I don't tune into Club Shay Shay to learn about autism diagnoses. I don't tune into Club Shay Shay to talk about politics, religion, or anything like that. I tune in to Club Shay Shay for tea. I would never go on Club Shay Shay and expect to have a deep intellectual conversation about racism. Maybe on another podcast, maybe, I don't even know, a CNN, Fox News, like a podcast that's centered around those things. But I'm like, Club Shay Shay is centered around the mess in the tea, okay? The interview was very entertaining in my opinion, and the biggest takeaway for me is to just go and be a part of spaces that want to welcome you and go where you are loved and appreciated. And I feel like that applies to all areas of our life. You do not need to be an influencer, a celebrity, or have a camera in front of your face to apply that to your life. Comment down below your thoughts on the Club Shay Shay interview and your thoughts on Amanda Seales and anything else related to this topic. And I'll see you guys in the comments. Bye, y'all.